All right,
Okay.
Kirby. Dov Charney filed for bankruptcy. Who cares? All right. So another one I had, Kirby. Me, baby, one more time as we launch episode number 89 of the Promo UPFront Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the Staff Sergeant of Shenzhen, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I never kind of tapped you for a Britney Spears fan, but I am doing well. Just trying to wind up a few things to get this week over with. Excited that the weather's starting to break. So I'm doing well, buddy. How about you?
I'm a huge Britney Spears fan, Kirby. I mean, from way back. I mean, all the albums above here, all Britney Spears, every single one of them. I'm doing well. Just trying to, navigate things. Things are still a little uncertain in the world right now, as we both know. Sure. And, it's got me to thinking, Kirby.
Okay.
We live in a world where things do feel a little bit uncertain right now. And we have the impact of the war in Ukraine, inflation concerns. Will there be another wave of COVID? But there's something that's very certain, Kirby, and I'm clinging on to this, and I think you are too, that your distributor clients are seeking cost-effective and eco-friendly promotional marketing solutions, especially with Earth Day approaching just about a month away, right? On April 22nd. So there's also something else I feel certain about, Kirby.
Okay, what's up, Bill?
People love themselves some free goods, and I know you do. Mm-hmm. And truthfully, if you're looking for both, there's no point looking any further than our good pals over at Shepenko. That's right, Dan Towns, Alex Moltz, Dan Towns, the whole team there, great folks. They have some really great products. They have the Arcus Rainbow Pencil made from 100% recycled post-consumer newspaper. And I love it. If you're looking at your camera now, it shows a rainbow when you sharpen it. It's very cool there. You have the Newsreel Pencil, also made from 100% recycled post-consumer newspaper. The Repeat Pen that I'm holding right there in my hand and I'll be making my notes with today. It's made from 100% recycled PET plastic. So you think of it this way, Kirby, when we recycle a plastic product and it's pulled from the ocean or plucked from some sort of hill or a landfill or whatever, that plastic can be transformed and have renewed life. And in this case, a really cost-effective pen. And this is no BS. This thing writes like a dream, like it should cost 85 times as much. This should cost $175. That's how awesome this pen is.
That's pretty impressive.
Now, heck, even their packaging, Kirby, is 50% post-consumer materials. You love yourself some free goods, don't you, Kirby? But when you're working with Shepenko, you get a hell of a lot more than that, don't you?
That's what I've heard. And I think that the reality of it is, I think many of our customers are looking for ways to be smart and sort of environmentally conscious. And so many times they just don't know how to do it. So I think that when we have the ability to just show them some ways that they can do a little bit better with their footprint, without giving up the marketing power, I think we really can show up as heroes for our customers.
No question. Couldn't have said it better myself, Kirby. And with Earth Day rapidly approaching on Friday, April 22nd, now is the time to talk to your clients about these beautiful, amazing, in-stock and cost-effective writing instruments from our pals at Shepenko. Plus, I did say free goods, and that means there are goods that are free. That's right, kids. All you need to do is put the code Shepenko22 in your next order, or just email Alex Moltz. He'll hook you up, alex@shepenko.com. He's going to hook you up with spec samples, the aforementioned free goods. You can't go wrong, kids. I promise you. So like I said, in an uncertain world, why not work with a partner like Shepenko that provides the certainty of cost-effective, eco-friendly merchandise, but also the certainty of free goods? I love me some free goods, Kirby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Kirby, you have the upfront portion of the podcast today. What are we upfronting this fine afternoon?
Yeah. So, we call it Promo UPFront, but I think sometimes the conversation circles around branding, right? Because that's what we do. And I saw this story this week and I thought it was super interesting. I just wanted your take. So people loved to tattoo brands on their bodies.
Okay.
So the story is about a bunch of people that do this, where they love brands so much that they go ahead and tattoo them on their body. They tell the story of the 30-year-old resident from Mumbai. His name's Jason George, and on his body he has Red Bull, Target, Unilever, IBM, Microsoft, Pringles. These are all logos on his legs, and on his back he has BMW, Yamaha, and Fila. Right, and actually, if you can see this, this is actually the image for the story is a guy who's tattooed a McDonald's receipt on his forearm. So I just thought this was very interesting. They're calling it skinvertising. And so number one, what do you think of the idea of tattooing brands on people's bodies? And number two, what brand or brands would you be interested in tattooing on your body?
So I think people have been doing this for decades.
Yeah,
really. It just started with different bands, not brands. People have been tattooing on their bodies the bands that they love for decades, whether it be the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or Van Halen or Def Leppard or whatever. People have been doing that for a long time. I think there are some brands that I completely understand the tattooing, the lifestyle brands. When I think of that, I think of Harley Davidson. I think of Jack Daniels. I don't think of Target, and I sure as hell don't think of Unilever. But I mean, I guess if that's something you want to do, who am I to judge that? My thing only is, I wonder if they're getting compensated to do that. I wonder if there was some sort of exchange. If we have you tattoo the Unilever logo on your back, we'll pay you X, because there's no reason for someone. That's the parent company of a lot of household products. There's no reason for anyone to want to do that. So to me, that raises an eyebrow of kind of like, this smells like a cooked up story. But there are enough people in the world that people would put a McDonald's a receipt on their forearm. I mean, I've never loved chicken McNuggets that much, so I don't get it myself. But I think if you identify with a brand, a brand, and you consider it a lifestyle brand, sure. I just think we're this close though, and my thumb and forefinger are super close together. I think we're that close to where brands like McDonald's, brands like Coca-Cola will pay athletes, will pay celebrities to have those tattoos. There will be some compensation because it is advertising, right?
Yeah.
As far as brands I would put on, first of all, I'd like your thoughts. What did you think of that? And then we can go back and forth on the brand part of what we want to tattoo.
Yeah, and in the interest of transparency, I think you are the same as me, but I don't have any tattoos right now. I feel like I'm in the minority in the country.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration when I can't think of very many brands that I would tattoo, but I do it's funny when you said that, you were like, oh, it's been going on for years with bands. I think it's been going on with brands too. I think you mentioned Harley Davidson. That was exactly the one that popped into my head. And I think the lifestyle is exactly right. Actually, Red Bull, I think, does make sense. I think Jeep, some of those where people are super, well, again, you might not be, but people who are into Jeep are really into it. And so I think, and it does speak to a lifestyle. So I get it. Now, the idea of somebody paying me for that is fascinating.
We're not far from that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's crazy. Although I will say that when you've got that many tattoos, and I think that while it's interesting and that you can say it's a story that it's been done, I'm not sure what value you're actually getting other than the shock value of it, because it's a little weird. So I respect it. I dig it, but I'm probably not going to be partaking.
To be clear, I was shaking my head at Red Bull. I don't see that as a lifestyle brand. Jeep is absolutely a lifestyle brand. I think you could put that in the Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels category. But as far as brands I would tattoo, there would be things that I love. I mean, it wouldn't be Pringles, surprisingly enough. It wouldn't be Pringles, but I could see a Whataburger tattoo. I'm wearing a Whataburger t-shirt today for crying out loud.
It's so funny. I knew that I was going to be bringing this up, and I saw that you were wearing a Whataburger t-shirt. And I was like, perfect, because I assumed that would have been your first answer.
But I could see a Jack Daniels tattoo for me or something like that. But again, I'm not a big tattoo guy. I love that people get tattoos. It's just not for me, right? That's just my thing. So if I would put any sort of tattoo, it'd be something far more personal than a brand. I'm sorry. It just wouldn't happen for me.
Yeah, you'd be that Van Halen logo, I would guess.
Nope.
Well,
I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah, and again, we haven't done it otherwise, and we're old enough where we could have made that choice at this point. But I'm with you. I was trying to think about this because I knew I'd be posing you the question. I actually know a few small business owners who have their logo tattooed like on their shoulder or something like that. I dig that. I mean, again, not for me, but I get it. And if you're that passionate about something and you're throwing your whole life into it, sure. The only tattoo I've ever considered getting really was when I was really hardcore into triathlons. And I thought, man, if I ever do an Ironman, I would do the Ironman logo.
Makes sense.
But I do not have an Ironman logo, which means I haven't put in the training. So anyway, I
get that.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good conversation. All right, Kirby. I don't know if you heard about this. I thought this actually might be your upfront topic. So I don't know if you heard about this, but China has shut down both the cities of Shenzhen and Guangdong. Have you heard this?
I read a headline. I haven't dug into the details.
So 11 districts in Shenzhen are on lockdown, and in Guangdong, amid a surge of COVID cases. Obviously, that has huge supply chain implications. The prevailing number is about 26% of all the exports come through those cities in China, which is a lot of the electronics, a lot of the hard goods, especially for our industry. So it's going to have some major impact. Again, increased freight again, potentially. And it's a major shockwave as supply chains already struggling to meet demand. So this is what kind of got my eyebrow raised. Is this? They have to have 3 criteria for the lockdowns to be lifted. Number 1, no new cases for 14 consecutive days. Number 2, 14 days since last close contact with someone who has COVID. And the third one, this is the one, I don't know how they wrangle this with 19 million people living in Shenzhen. All residents must complete a negative round of testing in the 2 days before the lockdowns are lifted. So that is some scary stuff. So manufacturing is starting to shut down over there. It's not just, some factories, the entire city is shut down. And so I think by the time this podcast hits, it'll probably be all over the news because it just broke yesterday, quite frankly, Tuesday of this week, as we're sitting recording this on Wednesday. So I really don't have a question. It's just, I guess the question I will pose is, how much more can our supply chain take on the promotional products industry? We've talked a million times. We get in front of it. We talk to our clients. We don't need to have that conversation again. But I guess my point is, it really bears watching that we live in such a global economy. We talked about this last week. We're all reliant on each other. And when one of the spokes on the wheel is broken or damaged, it impacts everything. And we're seeing that at the gas pump. We're seeing it at the grocery stores. We're seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. And as you point out, I mean, this is a big deal and it has potential huge implications. I'm kind of a silver lining guy. I mean, the only thing I'd say is maybe this second time around, they're taking it so much more serious maybe than it was originally, a couple of years ago, that maybe it can be controlled in a quicker fashion. I will say that, like what you said, those standards for coming out of lockdown are incredible. So, I guess they're going to show us if someone can actually flatten the curve, because is.
Well, and also I think it's like you said, have we learned from any of the lessons have we learned lessons from the previous times that these things have happened? I don't know. I just thought it was something very interesting to bring up. I'm not sure really what the topic is around that, other than holy crap, we might be going on this roller coaster again, but hopefully not. So
okay. Well, I appreciate you bringing it up. Okay, I got a quick one here, and it has to do with just straight business communication. Okay.
Okay.
So one of the things that I've seen, just like you, we started
Mhm.
as sort of the young pups in this industry, and we've grown and to the point where we're a little bit
Right.
more, we're the old white guy or whatever
Right.
in the industry right now.
Mhm.
And so I found myself, I think as we deal with more buyers and with more employees and team members that are younger, I think the communication tools, we want to use all of them. And I think that's really good. Right. And we've
Right.
got customers that want to text. I have people that actually send me Snapchat
Right.
messages about orders, and I'm down with all that. Right. And I'm a
Mhm.
big email guy still, just because I like just the mode of that communication for
Sure.
business. But I want to start a new rule. Can we
Oh.
please, for the love of God, after
Mhm.
3 emails or text messages, pick up the phone and call? I've kind of had this conversation internally with folks.
Yeah.
It just spirals out of control when we go back and forth, and nobody wants to pick up the phone because it's like, that's going to be harder. And I'm trying to
Right.
convince everyone I talk to that a 3-minute conversation will save you 3 weeks of frustration. Can I
Right.
get an amen? Do you disagree, or what's your take?
I generally agree. And I've been in those situations where it's just email chain hell, and we've all been there. I'm never reluctant to pick up the phone. Um, I would love to tell you that 100% of the time that takes care of the communication meltdown going on,
Right.
email or the other any other method. It doesn't always work,
Sure.
but I always make the effort. So I say, preach on, Father Kirby. Amen. I agree with you. I think that's absolutely 100%. I mean, I have very simple rules when it comes to communicating with clients. If things are good, email's fine.
Yes.
If things start going sideways, pick up the phone.
Yes.
I mean, seriously,
that's actually a little bit better. Yeah.
People read tone into email.
Yes.
People read intent into email, and you can't use voice inflections and all those things to really get your point across. And
plus, it just takes longer. There is a time where you could say, hey, do you want this, this, and this? And then there's especially, and actually it's funny, coming out of this supply chain, I have clients that just refuse to talk to me on the phone. And there are times where I'm like, dude, we gotta move quicker than email, because you're getting email when you can. And by the time you get the email, that shit is gone. It has been ordered. Like if you want to expedite these things, we need to use the fastest communication tool to get things going. Cause it's like, okay, you want blue? They don't have blue. I can tell you that right now.
And even on a phone, you might not have blue by the time you get in touch with the factory. So your point's well taken. All right, okay. Kirby. Dov Charney filed for bankruptcy. Who cares? All right. So another one I had, Kirby. I have 2 ways to go here. I have something, because we're getting close to the end of the podcast. I have something kind of more fun, and I have something that probably is going to require more conversation. So I'm going to save the one for more conversation for next week. That's called a tease in the professional broadcasting business, kids. All right, Kirby.
I love it.
Let's talk about our good pals over at Coca-Cola. Now, are you familiar with Coca-Cola, Kirby?
Yeah, they're the ones who are second best to Pepsi, right?
No, they are the world leader in the soft drink market, Kirby. And I don't know if you know this. They have a new CEO, CMO, and they're really doing a lot to try new beverages. I don't know if you've seen this or not. They've been taking a lot of old beverages off the market. They'll try a new beverage, but what I like about it is they're very quick to pull it. It's not working. We're done. I mean, it's in and out.
Okay.
So they released a new beverage called Starlight Coca-Cola. Have you seen this or heard about this?
This is all new to me.
All right. So this is what their marketing says. They describe the flavor as. Okay. Includes additional notes reminiscent of stargazing around a campfire, as well as a cooling sensation that evokes the feeling of a cold journey into space. I feel like I'm reading a bad Pantone color, but that's another podcast. So that's what they say. So we've come a long way from describing something as a lemon lime soda, right? We have. So most say, I have not tasted it, because most reviews say it tastes like regular Coke with added fruity and vanilla flavor. And then one person quoted saying it's strawberry, marshmallow, and cotton candy, which sounds terrible for a beverage. So as tastes change, and I mean overall taste, not just the taste of cola, but just taste of society, Cola, Pepsi Cola, Dr. Pepper, they're all losing market share. They're not as popular as they were with our generation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that introducing whacked out flavors that really don't even describe what it is, so it's almost like it might as well say Coca-Cola mystery flavor, truthfully, do you think that is a good marketing tactic for millennials and Gen Z to come back into the fold for cola?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
So, and here's what popped into my head. And again, I sort of lived in that craft beer space. I think that's what you're seeing there, right? Like, so you're seeing the Anheuser-Busch's, the Budweiser, the Bud Light, though Bud Light still does extraordinarily well. A lot of their standard beers flattened or decreased in market share. And so what they're doing is gobbling up craft, independent brewers, right? And the reason they're doing that is it has a different brand equity, but they also make different kinds of beers, right? The reality of it is, I think Budweiser, say what you will, I mean, they have some of the best brewers in the world, right? Because that takes amazing skill to do something that consistent. But to me, this sort of is like, we're going to do that, but we're not going to buy companies to do that. We're just going to do that with our own place. And I like the idea of going, look, this isn't for everybody. We're going to roll this out. And if we get this percentage and we start to get some traction, then we'll double down on it. I actually think it's a small business strategy with a big business budget. And so my initial reaction is I think it's kind of interesting.
So here's where I disagree with you. And I think they're missing the mark. Obviously there's not a lot of craft cola makers, right? So you're not going to gobble up. There's Boylan's in New York.
So they're having to do that creativity on their own rather than
which I understand. So from that perspective, I really like what you're saying. Where I absolutely totally disagree with you is this whole mystery thing. Tell me what it kind of tastes like. Okay. So I will try it, because you don't get mystery flavored beer. Right, I know that it's going to be a wheat beer, so it's going to have more, but you know what I mean. For the most part, I get an idea of what the beer is going to taste.
It's an IPA, it's a stout, the
type of, or even the type of hops that are in there. I get an idea if I'm a real big beer drinker. Just calling it Starlight Coca-Cola and saying that the flavors are reminiscent, that evokes the feeling of a cool journey to space. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That is marketing word salad that I don't think works. And so I expect this to totally fail, not because the flavor sounds just dreadful personally, now that I know what the flavor is. But I don't like, I'm a brand loyalist for Coca-Cola. I don't like them using my brand loyalty against me to have me try a product because I love the brand. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I feel used, to be honest with you.
Okay. So I really like, this is actually interesting to me. So what would be interesting is to have Coca-Cola spin off an independent organization and with a different brand. That is like independently operated, but hire some of the best in doing it, and then actually do it as a it's RC, it's whatever cola brand, and then when it works with them, to bring it over. The opposite, because then it does what I was saying without violating the trust of the Coca. I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting.
Well, I think you can not violate the trust of your brand advocates by just saying it tastes like this. It's cherry, vanilla, and marshmallow.
Yeah.
Okay. But I actually, though, I like your approach. I think that's kind of interesting, where they might set up a shop and say, "This is our cola lab. Have a good time, guys. We expect 4 new drinks a year. Pick the flavor, we don't care, and we'll do the distribution and all that."
Well, I just wonder, like, because again, then all of a sudden, like, you can literally put like a real entrepreneurial person, a leader in charge of that, and be like, okay, you're running the P&L. Like, so, and I think, it's literally, you got to make money. So that would be interesting.
I think you're going to see a lot more of that, especially with such volatility, dare I say, uncertainty in the marketplace. We're all seeking things that are certain. And right now, I'm certain if you're looking for eco-friendly merchandise with Earth Day coming up in the next few weeks, there is no better place to go than Shuppenko, because not only am I certain you're going to get some great Great products. You're going to get the Arcus Rainbow Pencil made out of 100% recycled post-consumer newspaper. The News Pencil, also made from 100% recycled post-consumer newspaper. The Repeat Pen, holding here in my hand, made from 100% recycled PET plastics. Great products, great writing instruments, perfect for Earth Day, super cost effective. And I'm also certain you're going to get free goods, because if on your order, you just put the code SHPENCO22, they're going to hook you up. You want to know more about it? You want to know exactly what kind of free goods you're going to get? Fine. I'll do you one better. Go ahead and email my good friend Alex Maltz over at Shepenko, alex@shepenko.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, I hope you'll excuse me. I need to go find some Starlight Coca-Cola to pour down a drain.
That was a platinum level transition. That was really well done.
I appreciate your broadcasting savvy, my friend.